Nerdy romantics. It's that time of year. Yes, it's bill time. No, kidding. It's time for holiday romances. In other words, to actually get you off of thinking about those bills that are going to come in January. Yikes. We're going to talk about some great books that you can read over the holidays. We have themes, we have spicy candy canes, we have it all here, including my guest for this particular episode. We've got Carla Luna, author. Welcome back, Carla.
Hi.
And we've got Jen Graybill, book coach extraordinaire. And did I not say romance connoisseur, I believe, one time? I believe I
One of
did.
my very favorite titles. Absolutely.
Yes. And they're going to do the heavy lifting, bring in the holiday romances to us. So stay tuned. This is the Nerdy Romantics Podcast, and I'm your host, Y.M. Nelson. All right. How you doing, ladies?
Doing good.
So good. I'm so excited to be here today.
I'm so excited to have both of you here because I will say this. I don't know about where you are at this recording, but right now, where I am at this recording, it is 82 degrees outside. Yes. And as far as I could get, y'all see, as far as I could get was the fall colors, but we need to be Christmassy right now. So hopefully your recommendations, which I know they will bring out all that holiday joy and hopefully get me thinking about hot cocoa and about cool winter nights where I can snuggle up and watch wonderful Christmas movies or read these wonderful Christmas books. I should say holiday books because, Jen, you have not only some Christmas books, you have Hanukkah books, correct?
I sure do.
All
I
right.
sure do.
I cannot wait to hear all about them. But first, Carla is here today not just to talk about one of her recommendations, but also to talk about one of her books that she has out right now. And Carla, first, let's talk about your recommendation. What holiday book have you brought to recommend for us?
Okay, so I want to preface this by saying I love when movies or TV or books take holidays and turn them into their own thing, like create rules for them. Like I love The Nightmare Before Christmas, where there's like a Halloween town. I even like the Santa Claus. I don't like Tim Allen, but I like all these cool rules. So this book that I'm recommending is all about this world, and it's it's like on my Kindle, The Nightmare Before Kissmas. And I love it because it's a romance between the son of Santa Claus, who's actually not very nice in this book. Not the son. The son is great. The Santa Claus is kind of a tyrant. And then it all has to do with this arranged marriage thing with the Princess of Easter. And the rival for the Princess of Easter is the son of Halloween, who's super hot, like very goth. And so naturally, the son of Christmas and the son of Halloween make a connection. And it is really fun. And there's all this sort of lore and backstory. And the author's name is Sara Raasch, Raasch. And she used to write fantasy, YA fantasy, so I can see how she did this because she's obviously good at creating worlds. And this world of holidays is really fun. And this is the first one. The next one, there's a teaser. It's the other son of Santa and I think the St. Patrick's Day guy. So it looks really, really fun. But I had a blast reading this. I love the world building. The romance was open door, but not super spicy. there's a lot of emotion, a lot. It's very emo, like a lot of pining and emoting and people's jaw clenching and all those vibes. Like it was a very fun read.
So you're saying a lot of emotion. Is it high angst or just a lot of emotion?
There's quite a bit of angst. You know, they're in a tough situation, these two guys. They, especially with Santa being as overbearing as he is.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, this sounds so fun.
I had a lot of fun. I traveled to Boston to see my son last weekend, and I read it on the plane, and I just zoomed through it.
Oh wow. Oh gosh. Actually I heard about this book a little while ago because one of my book clubs that I'm in is reading it. Shout out to my book club. They are reading it and I'm like, this sounds super fun. So you did mention a couple of open door scenes or whatever. I think we're gonna pull out our spice meter, which today we're doing spicy candy canes. On a scale of 1, just a kiss, to 5, all on, spicy candy canes, what are you thinking?
I'd say between a 2 and a 3 because it's open door, but not super in detail. Not as explicit as a lot of romances that I've read. Maybe a 3, but definitely not a 4 or a 5.
Okay, cool. All right. So I got this. Already have this on my TBR. Okay. But another one I want to have on my TBR is one that you wrote. Tell us about this book.
All right. So
Santa Maybe, right?
Santa Maybe, which I really like. I love punny titles. So I had fun coming up with that one. So my last series was an archaeology series, and I wrapped that up with Tour Wars. So this is a beginning of a new series. It's called the Duchess Hotel series. It's set at a struggling boutique hotel in Canada. I grew up in Canada. It's in a city named Victoria, which is like this beautiful, beautiful city on Vancouver Island that's super touristy. And I decided I wanted to travel there and set a series there. So it's set. The first book is a Christmas book, and there's a new general manager of the hotel, and all the staff are worried about losing their jobs. And Rosie, my heroine, who's a Latina hotelier, is told, you need to make this hotel the most holiday forward hotel in all of Victoria, and then maybe you can keep your job. So she and her team, they call the hotel's called the Duchess. The Duchess damsels just spring into action and just Christmas the heck out of it. And the next door is a gym called Northlife Fitness, and there's a personal trainer there that they're friends with, and he agrees to play Santa. And as they're making this agreement, somehow they both reveal that they're stressed about the holidays. He has an ex getting married. She has very intense matchmaking mom. They're like, hey, what if we fake date for the holidays to get through the holidays and make them a little less stressful? I'll play Santa. I'll be your pretend boyfriend. She's like, that's great. I'll come to the wedding as your +1. I'll show up at the gym and flirt with you. So that's what happens. So you've got the fake dating thing. You've got him very hot as a Santa, a volunteer Santa. And then you've got all these Christmas activities. So lots of Christmassy stuff, full holiday tale. It was really fun to write, even though I wrote it in the summer. So it was like 85 out. And I went back to Victoria in August to visit. I hadn't been back in years, and just walked around and went in and out of hotels and took pictures to get ideas for my hotel. And there's this very famous hotel in Victoria called the Empress. It's like one of the most famous hotels like in the world. And they serve this high tea, and they're very snooty, and they're very expensive. So in my book, that hotel is the Grand Duke, and it's the biggest rival. My hotel hates this hotel. And so they're always trying to compete with it, and they always fail. So I love a good rivalry. So that's kind of like the idea. And then I've created a whole cast of characters. So the next one's going to be a fall/Halloween one. I'm going to try to keep it seasonal. But I really wanted to get a Christmas book out in time for the holidays because I love Christmas books. It's not super long. It's not a novella, but it's not as long as my other books. It is, I would say, like the same amount of spice, a couple open door scenes, 2 to 3 candy canes.
All right, with the 2 to 3 candy canes.
I am so excited about this. I can't even tell you.
Right?
One, I have read a couple of your archaeology books, and they were so much fun, and you put so much beautiful like setting detail and like world building detail into your books, and I love that so much about your writing. And Victoria is a place that has a little special spot in
Oh,
my
really?
heart. My husband and I lived in my husband was a naval officer, and he was based at the Bangor Sub Base outside of Seattle, Washington. And so we spent one of our anniversaries in Victoria. It was a big
Oh,
major trip for us
wow.
to get to go to Victoria, and
Oh my
we
gosh.
rode the
Mhm.
ferry over
Yeah.
there. And our anniversary's in
Oh,
January.
not the best time.
Oh my
So it's
gosh.
cold and it's rainy, and Victoria was so charming. And it turns out that the Empress Hotel also makes a gin called Empress
Mhm.
Gin. And it makes really wonderful cocktails because it is blue in the bottle, and if you put a little citrus in it, it turns purple. So it's just like the whole thing just has me charmed, completely charmed.
Oh
So
my
I
gosh.
cannot wait to read this book,
Thank you. Well,
Carla.
I grew up in Victoria. I was very lucky. I grew up there, and when I was a
Oh
kid, I
god.
hated the fact that it was so crowded in the summer with tourists. I used to get like we used to roll our eyes as teenagers, like, oh, these tourists. But when I went back as a tourist, it's really fun to visit as a tourist.
Mhm.
It's just gorgeous. The inner harbor, which is where my hotel is full of boats and like walkways, and there's artisans and buskers, and it's just really, really beautiful. So, and my brother and his family still live on the island, so I got to see them. So I was very excited to, even though my theme of my books is travel, I thought, well, a hotel is travel related, and this will give me an excuse to visit Victoria quite a few times over the next few years as I write these books.
Yeah. So you mentioned you're going to do this next series and seasons, but are they just going to be fall season? Just seasons for that half of the year, but just or season all of the
I don't
seasons? Like you're
really
going to do
know.
one
I've
for.
started planning the fall one because Victoria has a lot of ghostly history. It's very haunted. Tons of
Oh,
like ghosts and rumors about ghosts. And there was this really wild book called Michelle Remembers that came out in the 80s that actually took place, if you believe it, in Victoria. So there's a lot of that kind of lore, which
wow.
would be kind of fun to pull into a book. And then I don't know what I would love to do, like one that's a wedding. So maybe that would be spring. I haven't really thought beyond the first two books.
Yeah, yeah. But cool that you're doing
Yeah,
this. And now you make me want to visit Victoria. See,
it's really cool.
this is the magic of Carla's books. I now want to visit after I've read her books. I now want to visit everywhere that she talks about. I'm
Yes.
you know,
That's
Yes.
the that's the joy of
it's
it
just
though, is
great.
combining my love of travel and then my love of writing. One thing I should say though, Santa Maybe it will be out November 19th. I'm not sure when we're broadcasting this, but for people who are interested, it will be out just before Thanksgiving or I think a week or two before. I don't know when Thanksgiving is, but it's coming out on the
Yeah.
19th. I think it's the week before.
They will when everybody sees this, it will be out.
Yeah. Oh, great. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So yay.
Thanks.
What I wanted to ask you was, you have your books in series, but are they connected in a universe?
Yeah, I call it the Luniverse.
Yeah, I thought so.
So, not
Yes.
as much with this one, but so for the first one, White Wedding, Rafael, the really smoking hot Latino chef, is the cousin of Olivia Sanchez, who is the archaeologist in Field Rules. And he's also the cousin of Sophia, which is the younger sister who's the travel influencer. And I'm not going to say reveal too much, but one of the characters from the archaeology series does make a cameo in this story. So even though it's not 100%
Yee.
connected, it is part of the same universe.
Oh, cool. I'm loving this already. I'm loving this
So I'd
already.
love to find a way to tie more of my characters in. I always like playing with them and bringing them in and out of my worlds.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always that's cool.
Mhm.
And we love reading it.
Yeah.
Okay. We love reading it. We especially love the whole rivalry thing because, when we had you on for Tour Wars, part of the joy, the greedy little joy of Tour Wars is the rivalry. So I can't wait to read the rivalry that goes on here because
Yeah,
it
I
sounds
love a
like
good
fun.
rivalry. And it's, I'm going
Yeah.
to play on it off and on. And it's not super pronounced, but there's definitely this undercurrent of just sort of this rivalry. And it's funny because I call the hotel is the Grand Duke. And I call that because my hotel is the Duchess. But then my daughter was like, she went to UNC for grad school, and their rival
Oh,
is Duke. So in our family,
Duke.
we don't like
Yes.
Duke. So it kind of ties into that.
Oh my gosh. And I'm a total Duke fan. I almost went there. Almost went there. So this is going to be fun. I'm sorry. All around, this is going to be fun. Oh, I am so jazzed. I'm especially jazzed, Jen, right now that you have themes. You came with it this time. So tell us
I
about
love
these
holiday
themes.
books so much.
Yes.
So,
Oh, okay. I'm ready. I'm ready for it. So, your first theme that you have.
okay. So, my first theme is It's a Wonderful Life retellings and slash inspired by. Okay, I'm going to be honest. I'm not the biggest fan of It's a Wonderful Life. However, the retellings that folks have done are so fun and
Mhm.
they just put you right into that Christmas spirit. So, Christmas Spirit book number 1 is by Eva Moore and it's called Christmas Spirits, and it is about two folks that they served in the army together, and now they are back home and kind of like making their way in the world, and so our heroine is a bartender, and she also works as a barista, and she's trying to put herself through school, and she's taking care of her family. Like, she's just got a lot. There's a lot happening with her. And our hero is kind of dealing with some family stress and family struggles. And the two of them just kind of reconnect, and they find a real comfortable space for them until our heroine is injured and hurt. And so that's where we kind of get a little bit of that, what would the world be like, without me, kind of a feeling, and kind of a dream sequence that she goes through. And it's super charming and lovely, and it's this novella is connected to a larger series of the Girls Night Out series, which is a great one by Eva Moore. But this you can read this book on its own, so you don't have to read the whole thing. It's a novella. It's pretty short. And as far as spice level goes, I think we're going to keep it around like 2 candy canes spice. There is, I think, one like open door scene, but yeah, it's so wonderful. If spice isn't your thing at Christmas, we can keep it sweet, and we'll talk about It's a Fabulous Life, which is also It's a Wonderful Life retelling. This one it takes place in a small town that is having a Christmas festival, and the person who does all of the organizing doesn't actually like Christmas at all. But she's a bit of a grump, having a little bit of a grumpy puss day. And she is so as this is all kind of going on, the girl that she had a crush on in high school moves back to town and is there and is just really lovely. And it's real hard to be excited about Christmas when you don't like the Christmas festival and you don't like a lot of the stuff. But this new girl in town is very excited about the Christmas festival. So, and of course, we have to have a magical element if we're going to do an It's a Wonderful Life retelling. But instead of angels, my friends, we have drag queens. And the drag queens are fabulous.
Love it.
So they're so great. They do so much in the story. And yeah, it's called It's a Fabulous Life. It's by Kelly Farmer. And this is a very sweet story. We love candy canes, but if we're using candy canes as the spice levels, there's we're gonna go with one candy cane. We're gonna go with one tiny
Oh,
little
the tiny candy
individually
cane.
child-sized candy cane.
Yes.
Yeah, this one is Hallmark movie level of spices.
Okay.
So so okay, so when this year we we did a little, thank you Carla for doing the Google search for us today, because the last few years I've been reading some Hanukkah romances, and when I tell you, they are just wonderful and fabulous. So this year Hanukkah starts the evening of December 25th. So you've gotten through all of your Christmas romances, and now you are ready for more. Let's do Hanukkah romances. So I have to tell you about Dreidel Date. Dreidel Date is by Eliana West. It's also a novella, short novel, and this is about two childhood friends that one of them moved away and kind of lost track of each other, and they reconnect as adults. And there's some questions about some decisions that were made, but in order to regain the trust of his childhood best friend, he recommends, let's go on 8 Hanukkah
Oh,
dates. So I love, there's just something about Hanukkah with the date, the 8 days, and the candles and the
Mm-hmm.
warmth and the combination of of holiday time and family time and magical time.
Yes.
And so I have truly loved, it was such a wonderful warm hug of a book to read last year. So that was my introduction to Dreidel Date, and I'm so excited because just today I saw on Eliana posted on her Instagram that she has another Hanukkah book coming out this year, and I cannot wait to read it. So that is a homemade Hanukkah, and that's going to be another novella, and so I'm so excited about that one. My guess is that the spice level will be about the same, or maybe one candy cane, maybe one. So those are really great. So I did want to talk a little bit, if we have some time.
We do.
I want to talk a little bit about, I have not read these books, but when I tell you I'm so excited, so right around middle of November, sometimes I make it to Thanksgiving, sometimes I don't, but I clear everything off of my Kindle and I load it with all of my holiday books. And this year I have 3 new holiday novellas I'm so excited to read. And I will tell you, I bought these books because of their covers. They are so pretty and so just holiday loveliness. It's great. So these books are by Raquel Henry, and I got to meet her. I got to meet her at a signing. I think it was Steamy Lit, but I could be mistaken about that. But I got to chit chat with her at her table, and she was so lovely and so sweet. And she said her books are just like, they're just little Hallmark movies in a wonderful little package. So she has Christmas in Cardwick. This one has the most adorable ornament snow globe on it, and it's all done in like soft pinks and whites and things, which is just precious. Then we have Holiday on Park, and this one is a nice, like, enemies to lovers second chance romance kind of a situation, which just sounds adorable. And this one has this like pink Christmas store on it, and sort of a mid-century modern sort of looking thing, which is also just lovely. And then we have Meet Me in December. This one, it looks like it's a gingerbread train. Maybe it's a real train done in like Christmas color, done in gingerbread colors, but it looks like a gingerbread Christmas train that is going through a pink Christmas tree forest. And so I looked at those books and was like, I need to have them. Like, I need to have these books. So I'm very excited to read them. And like I said, Raquel Henry was just a very charming person to chit chat with about her books, and I just was so excited to get them. So those are going to be brand new reads for me this year.
Okay.
And then I have one more book I want to tell you about because it does have a very special place in my heart. I've been editing romance novels for many years, and one of the very first authors that trusted me with her book was Heatherly Bell. And now she writes for Harlequin, and she's done a ton of books with Harlequin. But back in the day, she was an indie author, and she had written a book called Crazy for You, and she let me do the editing, the proofreading for that book. It was so much fun. Okay, so let me just tell you the first chapter because it makes me smile every single time I think about it. So
Okay.
in the very first chapter, we have our heroine. She's coming home. and it's, kind of getting kind of late, and it's dark, and and she's approaching her apartment when Santa Claus comes running by, tackles a man, and like holds him down on the ground and like handcuffs him. And she is just sort of blown away, like, what is happening right now? And yeah, so it turns out that particular Santa Claus is not the real Santa Claus. Instead, he is a cop, and he has chased down a perp right in front of her. So the two of them, for romance novel reasons, become friends and then decide, wouldn't it be fun to hang out together over Christmas and maybe fake date while they go to a wedding?
Oh
Yes.
boy, fake
What could
dating.
go wrong? You know?
There's so many wonderful things about this book, and I think Heatherly is celebrating like her 20th Harlequin novel this year, and she's a really wonderful person, and so I have always been grateful for the opportunity that she gave me. And that happens to be part of a series. The Crazy for You book is part of a series, but you can read it on its own. So it's been a minute since I've read that one, but I'm going to say that this one is probably in the two candy cane neighborhood, but it's novella.
Okay,
So,
cool.
and if we have more time, I could go on and on and on, because I tell you, I just love holiday books. I love them when they just kind of put me in the holiday spirit of spending the well, eventually we'll have a cold night. It's 85 degrees here today.
Yikes.
On stage.
Yikes.
85 degrees. I don't like snow actually in my town. I don't want there to be snow. But I tell you, a book that takes place in the
Mm,
snow with the coats
snowed
and
in.
scarves
Yep.
and being cozy and somebody sitting by a fireplace gets me every single
Yep.
time. So
Yeah.
I just love that.
Well, one of mine does take place there, but which I'll talk about in a little bit. But Jen, now you've got me intrigued here. Do we have another theme or
No, no, no. I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop. You guys go. You go.
I will say this, Raquel Henry, do we know if she is a steamy author? Are we thinking Three Candy
No, her
Cane?
books are described as they're sweet like a Hallmark movie.
Oh, okay.
So there's likely a kiss. There might be kisses, but there's nothing. There's no. It's not even like a closed door fade to black. No,
Oh.
this is like we have kisses. It's just,
Oh wow,
yeah,
she is
Hallmark
straight
movie
Hallmark
level.
movie. Yes.
Yeah, Hallmark movie level spices. So we're good.
Okay. All right. So that makes sense. I'm actually looking at her Instagram now and she did say something recommending some Hallmark stuff. So okay. All right.
Hmm.
So that makes sense. Oh boy. Well, Jen, we might come back around to you for a bonus round. Right now, I do have two recommendations. And my first recommendation, I reviewed this for review site, and it is RaeAnne Thayne's 75th book.
Wow.
75th.
I love RaeAnne Thayne. I do.
I
I haven't read this one though.
Oh, yeah, this one, I like this one. So, this is called The December Market for those who are listening by RaeAnne Thayne. And she is also a closed door. I'm going to say one candy cane, maybe one and a half. So, she might say a few things and might get a little racy here and there, but she closes the door. So the December market is actually, Jen, I can't believe you said I love her because this is my first book by her and this is her 75th book. So I'm
Wow.
like, oh my gosh, what have I been missing? And how much time do I have to get through all other 74? When I first started reading through this, though, I will say that our heroine of this book, Amanda, she's not really a fan of Christmas. And this is kind of like a grumpy sunshine pairing here. So she's kind of the grump, and she is an especially grumpy A lot of it, though, has to do with, there's a lot of backstory. This is a small town romance, and it's a small town in Idaho. And so there's a lot of backstory going on there. Her dad did something that wasn't that great in the town. And of course, with the small town, it's like, oh gosh, we know what happened. So, her dad did something. It wasn't so hot. So she thinks she is bearing kind of because she's a daughter, she's kind of bearing that load of people looking down on
Mhm.
her kind of thing, or looking at her with a little bit of disgust. And I think for me, I'm at that point in my life where I'm like, I really don't care what other people think, and you know F them, kind of thing. I'm just like, whatever. So I guess that part grated a little bit, but for the story, this totally works for the story. This is so cute. The hero is also grew up in this small town. He left, but then came back after his wife died. So his wife had a lot of other stuff going on too. Don't want to spoil that part, but she had a lot of other stuff going on too, and she passed away, and he has a son who is 6. So he came back home to take a assistant fire chief position, and also because he wanted to be near his family, who the grandmother, or the grand matriarch of the family, she had just passed. So he's kind of, coming together, helping with his family there, but also leaning on them a little bit because he is a single dad. So we have another kind of character trope there, single dad, small town
Mhm.
romance, grumpy sunshine. I mean, it's all coming together. But I will say this, the the really best part about this book is the grandmother of Amanda, our heroine, and the granddad of our hero are at this retirement home, and or retirement condo kind of thing. Anyway, they are really close.
Ooh.
Let's just say. And they are so totally cute. Oh my gosh, they're totally cute. And what that did for me is it just made me think, oh wow. So there is that second chance at love in the future kind of thing, because of course they were married and their spouses passed away and everything, but they get together because they don't want to, be alone, and they like each other's company. And I just love the example that they put forth in the book. And basically, they also play a little bit of matchmaker, trying to kind of get these two together. But the real matchmaker is the hero's son, Isaac. Rafe is our hero, by the way. So Rafe's son, Isaac, who's 6, is just blatantly like Parent Trap trying to
Okay.
get these two together. Oh my. It's so full of all the holiday stuff that you love. I mean, when you're talking about snowy, and you're talking about fire, sitting by the
Mhm.
fire, and Christmas tree decorating. And of course, the December market is a holiday market,
Okay.
right? So there's shops, and there's people drinking cocoa everywhere, and there's a festival that happens at the end. Oh my gosh, it is exploding with Christmas goodness. So, without giving too much away, read this
Okay.
one. I also have Last Christmas Crush by Mia Heintzelman.
Mhm.
And Mia's been on the podcast before, and we've also talked about a couple of her books. But this is in her Forta Mani series. So this series is a family with a lot of brothers and and now a sister that actually live in Napa, and they have a vineyard in Napa. And, for anybody that's been to, I guess, lived in Napa, I've been to Napa, but I haven't lived in Napa. Napa is kind of that small town,
Mhm.
right? People know people. And so that's also a small town romance. And in Last Christmas Crush, she is coming back to Napa to basically kind of reinvent herself a little bit. And she also wants to get a project started in the family business. And she is has realized that what she wants to do is have this holiday gift. They're going to actually be at their market, their Christmas festival, and she wants to have to sell a holiday gift that goes along with their wine, because they don't just have a vineyard, they also have like a restaurant, they have a lot of other things going on. This is the first book in the series that I've read, but I think this is the third book that she has out in this series so far. And of course it's a Christmas novel. Before I forget, I'll give the spicy candy canes. I'm going to give her 2 to 3 spicy candy canes, closer to 3 spicy candy canes, cuz she has at least a couple of open door scenes, and I'm not totally finished with the book yet. So our hero, I should say our heroine's name was Kiara, and her nickname is Chianti, like the
Yeah.
wine. And our hero, Jameson, he is also coming back to Napa, but he's just coming back to Napa for the holiday because his dad has a carpentry business. And the carpentry business, I think it's the uncle that's about to sell part of the business. In other words, they're getting to the point where they're thinking about selling the business or kind of backing off the business. And so Jameson is coming in to actually help dad with the business part. And he's also at a point in his life where he's gotten to um he's basically gotten to the point of, I'm doing everything that is expected of me. I'm almost about to get this big promotion. Why don't I feel fulfilled?
Mhm.
You know, why don't I feel like where I'm supposed to be? But as he comes back to Napa and as he falls into routines there, helps his dad with the business, kind of brings back his love for woodworking because he's also very good at it. He's starting to maybe subconsciously realize that he likes this more than he likes what he was doing before. The thing about Jameson and Kiara is that Jameson and Kiara have been friends forever, right? Since maybe middle
So
school.
friends to lovers then.
Friends to lovers, but a little complication there because at some point in high school, she started dating this guy named Lamar, and Lamar and Jameson became
Ooh.
friends.
Mhm.
Yikes. So Jameson and Kiara were always friends, but we think that Jameson probably liked her the whole time. You know how that
Mhm.
goes? And it was just never the right time. So it's kind of that trope of, ships passing in the night kind of trope. It was just never the right time. And now that Kiara is back and newly broken up with Lamar, because she's been off and on with him for the longest, it's like, should we do this? Because Lamar and Jameson are still
Ooh, that makes
friends.
it tough.
Right. So I'm at a critical point. So I'm not going to tell where I am, but let's just say I can't wait to find out exactly what happens with this. I love the fact that this has some themes of family coming together and family supporting love relationships, because you see that because they start out right before Thanksgiving. I'm sorry, right before Halloween. The book starts out right before Halloween. It goes through Thanksgiving, and they have the most loving Thanksgiving dinner I've ever seen in my life. I'm like, gag. But it's so great. I love it. And then, of course, goes through Christmas. So, I love those themes. I love the themes of reinvention, especially reinvention after you think you're at a point where you you thought you were supposed to be, but you realize I need to reinvent for myself, kind of thing. So I love those themes too. I'm kind of in that place myself, which is why I put out those books up there. Because you're kind of at that place where it's like, okay, I'm done living for
Mhm.
everybody else. Now it's time to live for me, or figure that out. So basically, and this is kind of also in the first part of the book. So basically, how the whole meet cute of Kiara and Jameson coming back together. I have to say this little bit is, of course, that the gift that she wants to sell, Kiara wants to sell, is a charcuterie board.
Oh.
Right? And so they want somebody to make the charcuterie boards. Who do they get to make the charcuterie boards? Jameson's family company. I love this. I love everything about this. Of course, this is in Napa, so there's no snow here
Mm-mm.
yet. Okay. But it doesn't seem like it's 85 degrees like it is where Jen is at the moment. They do wear jackets and stuff. Everything, it's kind of cold. It, has that cozy feel. And it does have the Christmassy feel, but it actually goes through Halloween, which, Kiara loves herself some Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. She really loves Christmas, though. Not like Amanda in the December market, who's a grump. Kiara really loves Christmas. But it goes through all those wonderful, lovely fall holidays. And if you can stand reading it for that long period of time, you may go through all those motions too. But no, you're going to want to keep turning the pages and find out what's happening, like I am. So I really like that one. I did say 3. Did I say 3 candy canes on that?
Said
I believe I
two
did.
to three.
2 to
Yeah,
3. Yes.
maybe.
Yeah. It's close to 3, but again, I haven't finished reading it, so who knows?
Mhm.
But yes, Mia does always have a little spice in her books, I believe. So, yeah, at least the ones I've read, she does. So, I am loving like all of our recommendations here, y'all. I love this.
So many good
Oh yeah.
books. So many good books. I can't wait.
Yes, yes. These are great books. I'm loving all of these. We will put all of them in the show notes. If we have links to Bookshop, we will put some Bookshop links so you can buy these right away. Carla, will yours be at Bookshop?
Yeah,
Yours is wide. You're
I put
everywhere,
them, yeah, I
right?
put them, I'm wide, so I put my books, my paperbacks and ebooks everywhere. So yeah, no shortage of places to get them from.
Awesome. Awesome sauce. Jen, I'm looking at you. Maybe possibly one more for a bonus round. Do you have any?
One more bonus book, and I have the perfect one to talk about.
All
Because as
right.
wonderful as all these holiday romances that we have talked about, as wonderful as all the holiday ones are, they're not very nerdy.
They
And
are not.
I have a nerdy superhero
Ooh,
Christmas book
wow.
for everyone. I know.
Oh
I'm
my
gonna let the
gosh.
screaming die down.
Oh
Everybody
my
scream.
God.
It's fine. Okay. Okay. So this book is part of a series, And I definitely recommend reading the whole series for all of my nerdy friends because it's all about superhero women in San Francisco. And I mean, does it get better than superhero women? Absolutely not.
No.
So, in the first book, which is called Heroine Complex, and in the first book, we have our two best friends. And just to give you a sense, there is like an opening in a portal situation, and demons come out, and the demons possess the first thing that they come across. And in that first book, they possess cupcakes. Just to give you a sense of what type of superhero book that we are dealing with, okay?
Oh my.
But
I love
this,
this.
I was able to pull it up. This is the cover.
Cool.
Can you guys see that?
Yes, we
If
can
not,
see
I'm
it.
sure Yvonne is gonna like fix that for me. But this book is called Holiday Heroine. It is by Sara Kuhn and is part of her series. Like I said, I think this is in the neighborhood of book 5 or 6. She also has one that's sort of fall based. What I love about this series is that we do have, it's a series of superhero stories where we have not only people with superpowers, but we have their wonderful sidekicks. We have the people that love them. We have some complicated family dynamics happening, which we love that as well. And so, but there's always a fantastic adventure and wonderful friendship, and usually, I can't promise it for this book, but usually there's also karaoke. So it is a
Oh my
fantastic
gosh.
series. And the books are not super, super long. They're a little longer than a novella, a little shorter than a novel. So right there, nice fast reads. The action is nonstop. They're really, really fun. But Holiday Heroine is going to be super fun to read. So
Oh, I'm loving this. Do we know our candy cane level in this one? Or did you say?
So all the previous books have been closed door.
Okay.
So any candy cane spice that's happening is happening off page. So
All right. Got it. So wonderful reading by all, I'm
Yeah.
saying.
mhm.
I'm loving this. I will say though there's a little bit of nerdy in Last Christmas Crush. They are gamers, but not anything like a superhero. Okay. I'm ready. I'm ready for it. I'm ready for
I don't know if
all
you
of
can see.
these
I don't know if you
books.
caught this, but like if you look at the top of the cover up here, we
Yeah.
have a superhero on a surfboard fighting a, I don't know,
A thing. A monster thing.
like
An
a giant
alien.
insect fire breathing something or other. So that's the level of nerdy we're talking about with this
Yes.
series.
Okay,
Sara Kuhn is the name of the author. So
that is over the top nerdy. I'm loving it. I'm loving all of this. And I knew, Jen, I knew you were going to bring it with the bonus round. I just do it.
I got you.
Yeah.
I got you.
Oh my gosh, audience, y'all have got to get these books. More importantly, I'm just so happy to be talking about these books with you, Carla and Jen. I'm happy to have you on. Jen, because I know that there are authors who actually do listen. What do you have going on now? Anything author friendly you have going on now that you want to talk about?
Oh gosh. So, well, folks can always join my newsletter for all the latest and greatest. I include lots of marketing and mindset tips. And then in January, come January, I'm going to be doing my Work It program. Work It is a 6-week coaching intensive for authors. And we talk about books, we talk about business, we talk about craft, we talk about productivity, we talk about habits. It's a program that is designed to really take you from where you are and put you on a path to get you where you want to be.
All right,
Nice.
I'm loving it. Do you have to be a romance author?
You do not have to be a romance author for that
Okay.
one. So I've had mystery and horror authors take the course and really enjoyed it. I've had women's fiction, poets, middle grade and YA authors have taken it. So this is something that is for all authors, not just for romance authors. So
Okay, great. And Carla, I know obviously you have Santa maybe coming
Yes.
out. Anything else in the
Well,
works that you want to
actually,
talk
yeah.
about?
So I will be in January. I'll start drafting the second Duchess Hotel book, which is the fall sort of spooky-ish one. But I just remembered I was looking through my notes. I'm doing an event called Book Harvest in Chicago next October.
Oh,
It's like a big romance reader event. It's the first time they've ever done it, and the theme is kind of spooky. And I had forgotten I said I was going to write a short story for an anthology, and they're doing one of those charity anthologies, and I love doing those. I love because it gets me to write a short story, which I don't normally do, but the theme is sort
yeah.
of spooky, and I was like, well, that's not really in my wheelhouse. And then I was like, wait a second, what if I wrote a spooky archaeology story, like something with a mummy
Yes.
or like a ghost or something?
Yeah.
So my goal is to think of a good idea for this short story for an anthology, drawing on that series. And so I can do one more archaeology story. I don't know where or what, but I'm sort of excited to dip into that world again just for a short story.
I love this idea.
Yeah, I think it'd
And
be fun.
I'm gonna vote Mummy only
I'm thinking
because,
mummy because I
yeah.
haven't written a book about Egypt yet. Of the other 3 books, and I'm like, oh, I really want to write an Egypt book. I mean, at least a short story, and
Yeah.
then see what happens.
I'm loving this. I'm loving all
I
of
think that would be
this.
fun.
Oh gosh.
And there's so many of us that love the Mummy
Oh, I
movie
love
with
them.
Brendan Fraser and Rachel
Yes,
Yes.
Weisz. I mean, come
The
on.
hard thing
of
is it's
course.
a
It's great.
10,000 word short story, so it can't be really epic, but I'll do the best I can. I'll try to, make it at least.
I believe in you. I believe in you. It's going to be
It'll
great.
be fun. It'll be fun.
Yes.
I wrote a short story for an anthology for Meet Me in Milwaukee, which was in August of this year, and I ended up writing one about a guy and a girl in a cabin, and it was something I had never done, and it was really fun. It was like, oh, this is a real challenge for my writing muscles to try to write this short and make it like a satisfying love story. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait to see it. I'm so excited. And I'm excited about the festival.
Yeah.
Loving this. Oh my god. I love all of this that's happening here. And I especially love both of you for being on and talking with me about holiday romances.
Thank you.
Hi, isn't it great when you find awesome reads like the ones on this episode? If you liked getting these book recs and want more, then subscribe to Nerdy Romantics newsletter at ymnelson.com/subscribe. Nerdy Romantics newsletter not only has nerdy and romantic recs, but sneak peeks and exclusives of my spicy nerdy romances and love stories. I love talking about sci-fi, superheroes, fantasy, and romance, books, movies, and shows with my friends. So share this podcast with your nerdy romantic friends. Thanks for listening and for watching.